record. Okay. Okay, so Ali, we are recording this lesson for you too. Make time to watch it. Good morning to everybody.
Take some rest because the next weekend I want that you here making class with me.
Exactly, yeah, to have classes, yes. International student from Porto Alegre. Okay, there we go. So endangered islands. So here you had this information about global warming. So what is global warming, Lucas?
Global warming, I think it's related to a greenhouse effect. The climate rising, the climate change, the sun is hotter than another years ago, and we have a greenhouse effect. The warming don't dissipate to the space. Get stuck in the globe.
And so it gets hotter and hotter.
Yes, gets hotter, and the greenhouse effect.
That's right, that's right. And then we have this question here that is, what effect do you think rising sea levels might have on your country?
What effect do you think rising sea levels might have
on your country?
I think that it's gonna be high tides in the shore. I think that the level of the water grows up, and I think some cities and some shore cities,
coastal.
Yeah,
coastal cities or some cities on the shore.
Yes, cities on the shore, and maybe disappears in some of couple of years.
It will disappear, yeah. And it's something very visible, huh?
Yeah. Ale doesn't hear, but I think he perceive.
Yeah.
Can perceive if Santos is the same if he compares 30 years ago.
Yeah.
The level of the water.
Yes. Yesterday I saw on Instagram a picture of Santos when the flood is very high and gets the canal. I don't know if it's Canal 6 or what canal it is. It gets flooded, and that is a normal city. But when it goes high, it's all flooded. So it's a problem, yeah. And then here in exercise 2, you had the vocabulary about environmental change. So here we have catastrophic event, repeat.
Catastrophic event.
Climate panel. Coastal areas. High tide. Global warming. Technological fix. Right, so you had to put there the sentences with those phrases. So number 1, can you read for me?
Okay. Less than 2 days after the levies.
The levies, right? Yeah. Levies e trazes.
Less than 2 days after the levees broke in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina, 80% of the city was underwater. It was a cas-
Catastrophic
catastrophic event.
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 It was a catastrophic event. Yeah. Let us see here the images of New Orleans after Katrina.
Katrina. There was a mess.
It was a huge disaster. Yeah. So you can see there, everything was underwater, and
Yes.
and not for 1 week, but it was for many, many months. So it was a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
Miraculously, the city survived, but look at that. It
That's
was very, very difficult. Very
oh,
difficult. So everything was underwater, and the water simply continued there. That was the
yeah.
problem.
Yes. The problem is that.
Yeah, because in Sao Paulo, at least, usually when you have a flooding, it's overnight, the water disappears.
That's
It's
true.
usually like this. But in New Orleans, the water stayed there for many, many weeks. And I remember in Miami also, because Miami is very flat. Florida is a very flat state. So when
Okay.
it gets flooded also in Miami, the water stays there for many days. It's not like tomorrow the water is okay. No, many days the water is high because the water doesn't have any place to go. You see, it's very flat and very low, so there is no loss of that water. So it's a very strange situation. Very
And
strange.
they have risks of disease about that.
Oh yeah, yeah, many situations. So that's a catastrophic event. Okay, number 2.
Number 2, engineers are likely to search for a technological fix to a problem rather than natural solution or a change in how people behave.
Uh-huh. So they are here using technological fix. What do they mean by a technological fix?
Uh, Using tools to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
New tools to solve a problem.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, using technology
Yeah,
and technology cannot solve all these problems, right?
yeah.
Like, how
Uh,
can technology solve the problem that there is water everywhere?
I think technological can prevent. Oh, there is coming a hurricane to
Exactly. Yeah. Uh-huh.
monitoring, I think, but to solve the problem, I don't
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, yeah. Let me show you the New Orleans levees, what they are like. Levees and trusses. Okay, so these are the levees, you see? They are not big things. They are kind of low walls, you see?
Okay.
And they are not
It's like a
gigantic
piscinão.
things.
It's like a piscinão de
Exactly. A levee is a piscinão. Yeah, in Portuguese, we call it a big swimming pool. In English, we
to
call it a
prevent the
levee.
flood. To prevent the flood.
Yeah, flood, flood,
Flood. Flood.
flood, flood.
The
Yeah,
flood. Okay.
yeah. But even London has a control system for floods that is very good. London flood control, flood control. Okay, here. So here it's in London. So you have these gates that they close, and really they control the tides.
Okay.
So it's very interesting, this aspect here. So because this is part of the river, but the river goes to the ocean. And when the tide is very high, the water from the ocean comes into the river and flooded parts of London. But
Okay.
because of this, they built this kind of flood control system that they close and successfully, until now, they can control the floods
Oh, nice.
in London. Yeah, But of course, it's extremely expensive, the construction, the maintenance of a system like this. And it's kind of temporary, right?
Yes, yes.
Because the water continues coming. And one day.
Yeah, but London is a city.
Right.
But when we think about the island, I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
to put these things, these contraptions
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
around the island. I don't know.
I think it's impossible, right? Only if they manage to lift the island. They have to lift the island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or the island become Venice.
Yeah, yeah. And Venice has flooding problems a lot, and it has been
Yeah.
getting worse. Like, let me go here to Venice floods. Venice floods. Oh, the images. Yeah. You see, it's not, you get water very usually there in the squares, in the places, and in the tourist parts of the city. Many times they put a kind of Venice sidewalks. They put some platforms, yeah. So they put these platforms for the tourists to walk, you see?
Okay, I see.
But it's very unpleasant, the situation, because we were there and there was a little bit of it when we visited Venice. It was not flooded, but they still had the platforms there so people can walk around, because otherwise you can't walk in the city because it's totally flooded. And when it happens, there are a lot of rats.
Yeah, rats.
Yeah, so you say, oh, Venice, Venice, so romantic. Yes, but problems. Yeah, problems. So, for example, Venice sidewalks, floods, restaurants. Let us see what because there are many restaurants there. So what do they do? You see? You are inside the restaurant, and that's okay.
Okay. Working under the water.
Work underwater, work underwater. It's insane. Yeah. So you get those flooded areas there. And look at that here. You see? How can a business operate in a situation like this? It's very strange. Very strange.
Food and meal, I don't know if
yeah, I don't think it's a good combination.
No, I think it's not convenient.
yeah, I think you have to go to the second floor, right? You go to the second floor. Please bring me my food to the second floor. And number 3, tsunamis are usually
more damaging to the coastal areas, of a country than the island areas.
Okay, coastal areas.
Coastal areas.
Damaging. Right. Number 4.
The government appointed a climate panel. The government appointed a climate panel made up of scientific experts to find out how changing weather patterns might affect the country in the future.
Might affect the country in the future. Read for me again, Lucas, please. The government appointed.
La 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 la.
La 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 la. Focus.
The government appointed a climate panel made up of scientific experts to find out how changing weather patterns might affect the country in the future.
Okay, much better. Climate change, yeah. And remember, how do you pronounce this word here?
What word? Flood.
Okay. Flood. Number 5.
Many scientists believe that global warming is causing the glaciers to melt.
Yeah. What does it mean to melt?
Melt, if you put ice on the sun, he melts.
It melts, right?
It melts.
Yeah,
Yes.
unless it is Ale. Ale is so soft like butter. So Ale cries for everything. He melts.
I think this week he will melt. He melts.
Ah, he's already melting. Do you hear that, Ale? You are already melting. And number
Drink
6, go ahead.
much water because you lost a lot of tears.
Yeah, he's dehydrated. He's dehydrated and he's causing global warming and global flooding. The sea levels are rising. And number
Careful.
6, what did you say?
Santos, be careful.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And number 6?
During a high tide, many areas by the ocean that are usually above ground may be underwater.
Right. Yeah. During a high tide, many areas by the ocean that are usually above ground may be underwater. Yeah, I wouldn't like to live in a place like that.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. So because every time that the weather changes or whatever, you have to worry about it. Must be very stressful. Now, guess the facts. So you had to watch the first 2 minutes of the video. Which of the following do you think are concerns of people living on the island of Tuvalu?
I put flooding,
Flooding, okay.
flooding, high tides,
Mhm.
um, they told you about the soil. I don't know about the water, unsafe drinking water.
Safe drinking water. Did they talk about unsafe drinking water? It's a connection. Yeah, it's connected. It's connected. But let us go there to the video then. Let me put here interchange.
They talk about the
We,
soil and the plants won't grow up about the
yeah,
soil.
about the soil. But in the beginning there, let us go. So
rising water levels has today experienced the damaging impact of what's known as a king tide. Tuvalu is a small group of islands 10,000 miles and 11 time zones away in the South Pacific. Islanders fear that the area could disappear within 50 years if action isn't taken over climate change. Well, our environment correspondent, David Shookman, has travelled to the islands, and we can join David there now.
Hugh, thank you. It's a stormy time here in the heat of the South Pacific, just the combination of high tides and strong winds that people dread, because Tuvalu...
So he said it, high tides and,
Salty.
listen again.
In the heat of the South Pacific, just the combination of high tides and strong winds that people dread.
Could you hear?
High tide.
Combination of high tides and strong winds that people dread.
High tides and?
Storms.
Storms, yeah, but he didn't say storms. What did he say?
Here in the heat of the South Pacific, just the combination of high tides and strong winds that people dread.
No?
I don't know.
Let us see if we can get with the closed caption.
Oh.
I'm here in the heat of the South Pacific, just the combination of high tides and strong winds that people dread.
High tides and?
Strong winds.
Strong winds,
Because
yes.
Tuvalu is so low.
It's a little
in the-
difficult to understand.
Yeah, sure. Different accent, of course. But that's the challenge, right? That's the challenge. So high tides and
winds.
strong winds. You see
Okay.
there? But that's it. It's difficult to understand. That's why you have to listen different reports. It's good to listen to different news, because then you're exposing yourself.
And the audio is not good too.
Yeah, because he is a satellite far away, right? Watch the video, get the picture. So look at your answers to exercise 3. And then here, what are some threats faced by the people living on Tuvalu? So match each threat with the correct picture. So the first picture, what is the threat?
The main roads on the island are sometimes flooded.
The main
Flood.
roads on the island. That's number 2.
Number 2.
And the second?
Number 4, plants won't grow in the salt water.
Yeah, that's another problem, right?
Yeah.
The third picture.
Number 1, forecasts show that the tides will continue to get higher.
Yes. And number 4?
3, the airport runway may disappear.
Yeah. What is a runway, Lucas?
Runway, I think, is the pista.
Exactly. Very good. Very good. So here we have the runway, right? The runway. And it's near the ocean. So it will disappear anytime soon. It will disappear anytime soon. Now you have to watch for details. So fill in the blanks. Number 1.
Yeah, I just did some of them.
Okay.
Number is salty. It's difficult to grow anything on Tuvalu because the soil is too salty.
Very good. The soil is too salty. Very good. Number 2.
Number 2, I didn't get it.
Okay. Which ones did you get?
Number 3 only.
Okay, number 3, no problem. Tell me number 3.
10
No,
years.
read the sentence for me.
Okay. Scientists predict that most coast areas of Tuvalu will be washed out in 15 years. 15 years.
15. 15. Not exactly 15.
Oh.
We're gonna find out, okay? So let us go watch it again and see if we can get it. All right. So the first information we need is an Australian system has been monitoring the tides in Tuvalu. So let us go there.
Okay. It's a little difficult for me, this audio.
This video, okay.
Tuvalu is a small group of islands, 10,000 miles and 11 time zones away in the South Pacific. Islanders fear that the area could disappear within 50 years if action isn't taken over climate change. Well, our environment correspondent, David Schuckman, has travelled to the islands, and we can join.
So here we have, let's go back there.
Disappears 15 years.
So it's number 2. An Australian system has been monitoring the tides in Tuvalu for 15 years.
Oh,
Years 15.
Okay.
Now let us see the next. Scientists predict that most coastal areas of Tuvalu will be washed out in.
Join David there now.
Hugh, thank you. It's a stormy time here in the heat of the South Pacific, just the combination of high tides and strong winds that people dread. Because Tuvalu is so low in the water, it really does run the risk of becoming the first country to fall victim to the way our climate is now changing.
Incredibly beautiful, but incredibly vulnerable. The fragile strips of green that make up this country only just break the surface of the ocean. But for how much longer? The mighty waves of the Pacific pound the shoreline during what's called a king tide, the highest tides of the year, and the effects can be devastating. This is the island's main road.
I mean, we've never seen this in the past, water coming all the way up to this far. And our house is just up behind us.
But the water also surges up from underground, through the coral the islands are built on. In the space of an hour, the lowest areas are all flooded. Everyone feels the impact. This priest steps carefully through the waters on his way to conduct a funeral. The higher the king tides get, the harder it is to keep things going here. So can you grow anything here?
No,
Because it's too salty?
yeah, too salty.
Okay. The seawater is poisoning the soil and people are nervous.
It makes me feel scary. So what will happen to us in 10 years' time?
This isn't like other floods that I've covered with a single catastrophic event. Instead, it's a creeping process with this seawater flowing up into the heart of these islands and slowly, but effectively, killing them off. The water bubbles up in tiny streams, and everywhere you look, it just lies on the surface. And the problem is getting worse. At the harbour, the rising swell is monitored by an Australian system. The measurements go back 15 years. And at the local Met Office, they say the king tides are getting higher, a trend forecast to continue.
In prediction, the next 5 to 10 years, the king tide getting worse. And
Now, there we have it. So there we go to the question. Scientists predict that most areas of Tuvalu will be washed out in
15 years.
No.
No.
No. Let's go
Oh,
back here.
I think they
Forecast to
told
continue.
15.
in prediction, the next 5 to 10 years,
Could you see there?
10 years.
Listen here.
in the next 5 to 10 years,
The next 5 to 10 years.
5 to 10.
5 to 10 years. So here, scientists predict that the most coastal areas of Tuvalu will be washed.
5 to 10.
Yes, yes. Out in 5 to 10 years. Yes, that's the information. Yeah, it's the detail, right? Because the exercise is for you to focus on the detail. Focus the detail. So that was the point that they were asking there. Now, a typical high tide reaches about how high?
I didn't get it.
Okay, let us go there.
years, the king tide getting worse. And
Go ahead.
I didn't use the closed caption.
Okay.
getting higher than normal, then most of the coastal areas would be washed out.
The implications are alarming. A typical high tide reaches about 2.5 meters. A king tide like now can be more than 3. The UN Climate Panel forecasts a rise of another 0.5 meter, when the highest point is only about 4.5 meters. Now for Tuvalu, each scenario...
Okay. So let's go back here. Right. So let us go to the question.
A typical high tide reaches about
A typical one.
4.
No, the typical. 2.5, 2.6.
2.6.
Yeah. So here.
2.6 meters.
2.6 meters. And the highest point of Tuvalu is only about
4 point.
4.5.
4.5.
So with the growing waves there, you can see that the tides are gonna get totally into the island. And the next question, without help, Tuvalu can survive for only about more years. So the island can survive for how long?
1.5 meters. Now, for Tuvalu, each scenario would cost precious land. Only a small rise would see parts of the island go under, perhaps even the runway, a lifeline to the outside world. How long have you got?
Not more than 50 years. In fact,
So how long?
No more than 50 years.
Mhm. So without help, number 6.
Without help, Tuvalu can survive for around about 50 years. 50
Mhm.
more years.
Yeah, 50 more years. And the last one, the island nation of Tuvalu has how many inhabitants?
some of the islands have already disappeared. Please help us. You cause climate change. You know, the polluter pays principle must apply. You must set up a global fund to which these islands can come and tap into to build their resilience, to build their capacity, their education, technology, and all that, and restore what the damage has been done.
People here say there must be a technological fix if a rich country like Dubai can build entirely new islands, especially since these are so narrow you can cross from one side to the other in a few short paces. The problem, they're founded on coral, which is porous. Saving these islands will cost a fortune. For the children of Tuvalu, the floods are fun. But for them to lead their lives on these islands will require massive international support. And with just 11,000 people here, will the outside...
So how many people live in Tuvalu?
11,000
11,000.
inhabitants.
Yeah, so it's a small island with a small population. The island nation of Tuvalu has 11,000 inhabitants. Yes, right. Yeah, this information was a lot, so it was a difficult exercise, really. But worry not. But now you know the information. And here you have to guess the meaning from context. So here in exercise 6, you had these words that were underlined, and you had to guess their meaning based on this context from the video. So number 1, can you read for me, please?
Incredibly beautiful, but incredibly vulnerable.
So what is vulnerable here?
Easily damaged.
Yeah, they are easily damaged. They are vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
Yeah, they. You saw the reporter showing there. It's not rock. The island is based on coral, and coral is very porous. So the coral absorbs the water. A rock, no, a water keeps the water away, but coral absorbs. So it gets like a sponge, right?
But this is a problem.
Yeah, maybe the solution is that they shouldn't be living there, right?
Yes, the right thing
What
to
are
do.
you doing here?
Away.
Yeah. Number 2.
Break away.
Make away. Number 2.
The water also surges up from underground through the corals the island are built on.
So surges up. What does it mean?
Surges up. It rises steadily.
Very good. Number 3.
This isn't like other flood that I've covered with a single catastrophic event.
Catastrophic. Terrible.
Terrible.
Number 4. Yeah, catastrophic event, like we are having in the Brazilian Northeast. And last year we had in Santos, right? We had in Santos those catastrophic events with the mudslides collapsing and killing so many people. And number 4.
At the harbor, the rising swell is monitored by an Australian system.
Monitored.
Monitored.
Yeah. So remember that the E is silent. You don't pronounce the letter E. Monitor, monitored, monitored.
Okay, monitored.
The same thing here. You don't pronounce the E in all these words.
Controlled, ignored, measured.
Very good. Excellent. And number 5, Lucas.
These islands are so narrow, you can cross from one side to the other in a few short paces.
In a few short paces. What are paces?
Steps.
Steps. Excellent. Excellent. And very good. You pronounce correctly this word. So what is the pronunciation?
Paces. Islands.
Islands. Islands. Excellent. Islands. You don't pronounce the S. And there you had here some pictures. Can you tell me what these pictures are about? This first picture here, what is it about?
The pictures. The first picture is about the water rising up from the soil.
Yeah. So imagine here you plant vegetables or whatever, suddenly it's totally flooded with seawater that destroys the soil, right?
Salt water.
Yeah.
If it was water that
drinking water. Drinking water.
Put rice there.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Well, they can use this water to make soup, right? They don't need to add salt. They get the water and make soup. That's good. And the next picture, the second picture, what is it about in the video? Do you remember?
Funeral, I think.
Yeah, the funeral. Yeah. And how can you bury somebody there? Where? You have to put the person on an elevator, right? Where do you bury a person? There.
Throw it on the sea.
The sea, right? Oh my goodness. And the third one.
The third one is about the wave, the big wave.
Yeah. Do you remember the name of that big wave? That what they call there in Tuvalu?
High tide.
High tide and king tide, right? They call it a king because it's a big one. It's not it's exceptionally high, right? Because the high tide is like 2 meters, but this one is more than 4 meters, so it's much higher. So yeah. And here in the exercise, they were asking you to imagine you are in charge of an organization that is considering helping the nation of Tuvalu. So, well, should we save these islands or they are impossible? They should be evacuated. People shouldn't be living there. So 3 reasons for, 3 reasons against to save these islands. What do you think?
Yeah, about 3 reasons
for saving.
For saving.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have hope to save the island because.
Not even try.
Yeah. How can we do? How can we do to help him evacuate the population?
Just evacuate the population. You think that's the solution?
Yeah, I think we won't be able to save the island. I don't know. Maybe using the technology. Maybe using the technology that Dubai used to make the island, but I think it's not permanently.
Yeah. It's something difficult to get it permanently, right? Yeah. Yes. So you think that this island should be evacuated?
Yeah, I think that should be evacuated because we don't have rock there. We don't have stone there. We have cliffs. So it's a problem to solve that.
Mhm. Only temporary technological fixes, you said, right?
Yeah.
The soil is on coral, and it will eventually disappear underwater. Okay, so you gave up.
Yes. Go.
So
Go.
you for you to express, you can say, in my opinion, it should be evacuated. Repeat.
In my opinion, it should be evacuated.
Uh-huh. I feel that technological fix is only temporary. Repeat.
I feel that technological
fix
things.
fix.
I think that I think this technological fix is temporary.
It's temporary. On the other hand, the island is built on coral.
In the other hand,
not in.
On other hands, on
the other hand, it's here.
The story. On the other hands, okay.
On the other hand, singular. On the other hand.
On the other hand, okay. On the other hand, the soil is in a coral.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's built on coral. Yeah, but many people say that if Tuvalu sinks underwater, the world will lose an important example of survival. Now you use this expression. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Nevertheless, continue.
The island the word, nevertheless, the word lose the island.
The world will lose the island. And I don't think
that we have a permanent solution to this island.
You don't think we have a permanent solution to this island. Very good. Now here we have in exercise 8, what did he say? So probably here was difficult for you, was it?
Yes, partial.
Okay, all right, yeah. Because I think he's the journalist. Based on his accent, I think he's from Australia or New Zealand. That is a different accent. So maybe that's a factor as well, I believe. Now, you had to watch the video and complete the commentary, then compare with the partner. So a reporter is talking about what Tuvalu needs to survive. What did you get?
Okay. For the children of Tuvalu, the floods are fun.
The floods.
Flood, my God. Flood.
It's not flood, it's flood. Lucas, let me ask you a question. What do you have in your veins? What do you have in your veins? If you cut, you see what?
Blood.
Thank you, Black Cheese. Thank you. So you don't say blood.
Okay.
You say blood. You say flood. Okay. Blood. Sorry?
Floor.
Then it's floor. It's another sound. Don't try to confuse me, okay?
Okay.
So because the letter, the combination of these letters, let me put here. when you have this double O, let me put capital letters, they have, usually we think the sound is like ooh, like Scooby-Doo, right? But the double O has also the sound of O, like floor,
Floor.
door, right? So it has the sound of ooh, like Scooby
Scooby.
Doo, Scooby Doo. So that's the sound of ooh, but other times it's sound of aw, and other times it's the sound of like blood,
Blood.
flood. So you have to notice the pronunciation of the word. Sometimes it's
Okay.
aw, sometimes it's ooh, sometimes it's okay.
Scooter. Scooter.
Scooter.
Ooh.
So scooter is the ooh sound, right? Scooter.
Okay.
So it's not scutter, it's not scotter, it's scooter. But so it
Scooter.
depends on the word. Each word is gonna have a different sound. There are possibilities of different sounds. So that's why it's important to listen.
So cool to know that. Cool.
Cool. Yeah. That's the ooh
Cool.
sound again, right? Cool. Sabbath school is cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Right. School. Yeah. That's it. So it depends on the word. Okay.
Okay.
Like for example, sorry.
Flood is flood. Okay.
Flood is flood. School is school. And also, for example, pour. It's like this. It's aw sound, right? Pour.
Pour.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I
Pour.
remember when I started to learn English when I was a kid, and I would read this word and I would pronounce it pour, because for me it was double O, it was ooh sound. But then I started to listen to other people saying pour. I said, oh, it's different, you know?
Pour.
Yeah. So we learn by observing what other people say.
Yes.
That's why I always insist with you guys to listen to podcasts, to watch videos and series and things like that. And also pay attention to the way that people pronounce the words. Documentaries are good to watch too, because the English is clear, right? And now let us see here. For the children of Tuvalu, the floods are fun, but for them,
to live their lives on this island will require massive international support.
Yeah, but not exactly. He didn't say live, he said lead. To lead their lives.
No lead.
Will require a massive international support.
Lead. Okay, lead lives on this massive international support. Yes.
And with
just 11,000 people here. And will the outside world think it's worth it?
Worth it.
Worth it. Now, of course, Tuvalu does get some, I don't know,
some aid.
Aid.
Yeah, some aid. Because you link, you see, some aid. Some aid. Some aid.
Some aid. So
and what does aid mean?
Aid, I think, is care, about care.
Yeah, help.
Help.
Yeah, care. Assistance, right? Like, for example, I imagine you have in your house a little box with the bandages, medication, and things like that for emergencies, don't you?
First
yeah, and what is the name of that?
aid.
First aid. Yeah, first aid kit. Yeah, it's a first aid kit, not AIDS. AIDS is another thing, but first aid kit. Yeah. So Tuvalu does get some help, some assistance, some care, as you said, but not
really enough to keep.
nearly.
Oh, so difficult for me.
No problem. That's it. That's it. And after the class, when you can, watch again the video and check it, because that's the way that you improve, that you start noticing the differences. Really, nearly. They are close. They are close.
Yes.
So it's good to pay attention. Enough to keep the
rising sea.
The rising sea. At bay.
At bay.
What does it mean to keep the rising sea at bay? It's an expression.
It's an expression.
Yeah, keep at bay. Yeah.
Keep at bay. I don't know this expression.
Yeah, it's an expression that it means you prevent someone or something to get to approach, to move, to reach you. So you keep it at bay. Like, for example, you have to build a big wall to keep the ocean at bay, not to invade the land. So the idea is to prevent the attack.
Prevent the attack. Okay.
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 It's an expression. Prevent at bay.
Prevent at bay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very advanced expression. So yeah, you're moving to advanced. That's why you are finding it harder. And the next one. So
the international community faces very soon a difficult choice.
So the international community faces the international community faces very soon
a difficult choice.
A difficult choice. Singular, right? A difficult choice of
weather.
Pay attention, that is not weather about the climate. It's weather meaning if.
Whether or not.
Meaning if. Weather.
To draw a line between those. Who get saved and
those who get saved.
And in the meantime, people here are getting ready for another king tide. Right now it's low. It's very high in about 8 hours time.
Yeah, to get very high. Yes, excellent. Well, our time is up, but you could we keep this material, because next time you have class, we can finish that part about the passive as well. And watch the video again. Notice nearly, really, meantime. So you're expanding your vocabulary. You see, expanding your vocabulary as well. And that's a good practice. That's a good practice. Those videos from the BBC that I sent you the link to last week about BBC English with the news, they are good for this as well, for the vocabulary.
Nice.
Yeah.
But so fast. It's so fast and a lot of accents.
Yeah, that's life. Life is fast.
And about the relaxed speed, make me confusion.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to see if I can find some videos from Bahia speaking English. Hello there. We are here in Bahia. So that is gonna be okay. But congratulations, you did a good job. This last exercise about what did they say is difficult. They did a very good job. And Ale, practice your English in Rio Grande do Sul, huh? You gotta say che with a good English accent.
Barbaridade, che.
Barbaridade che. You say che. That's it, my friend. So, any questions about today's lesson?
No, it's okay. This lesson, okay.
Yeah. So finish that part about the passive. Watch again the video and try to get the words that you didn't understand. Identifying the sounds, the difference of sounds.
I will try.
Flood. Meantime.
Meantime, do you have the transcription of this video?
Yes, I'll send it to you.
Okay,
Okay.
it's
But getting the sound, important also the sound, okay? Because when you see in the paper, okay, I understand everything. But you have to get the sound, okay?
sound. Make the link about who is writing.
Yes, like some aid. So the person is not speaking some aid. Some aid. You
Some
connect. They are receiving some aid, not some aid, right? Then you say made. Did they say made? No, some aid. They are linking.
Some aid.
Right. That's the way. It is to go from intermediate to advanced is an effort. It's an exercise. It's like when you are used to physically, you are used to going to the top of a hill. Now you have to go to the top of a mountain.
Yeah.
Right?
Step by step.
Yeah, step by step. I can go up that hill. Eu subo aquele morrinho ali. Okay, but now go to the mountain. And so it's more difficult. That's the way. That's the way. And it requires training, right? It's not like I do need not training for me to go to Jaraguá, Pico do Jaraguá. No training. Okay. But if you're going to Pico das Bandeiras, I think you need training. If you're going there, you have to condition yourself. And that's the practice. Practice.
Okay.
What did I say, Lucas? What did I say?
Practice.
Exactly. That's the way. So I'll see you next week, my friend.
Yeah. Are you hearing, Ale?
Yes, Ale. Can you hear that? Yeah. Ale, now we'll practice. We'll practice with gauchos. Okay. See you, my friends. Have a wonderful week. Take care.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Bye.